This video, I recreated Five Nights at Freddy's inside of Scratch. If you didn't know, Scratch is a basic programming language used to teach kids how to program. But before I can recreate Five Nights at Freddy's inside of Scratch, there's a problem here. Scratch is mainly used by kids, and half the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's is about killing kids. This has led to Scratch questioning if they want Five Nights at Freddy's on their platform. The Scratch team has decided that as long as your Five Nights at Freddy's does not go against the community guidelines, then your Five Nights at Freddy's game will not be banned. That means no disturbing images, no jump scares, and no lore. But that covers basically all of the Five Nights at Freddy's games. How am I going to make this video? Well, dear viewer, there's actually one game that follows all of these rules. That's right, we're recreating Fnaf World. If you didn't know what Fnaf World is an RPG game where you play as the animatronics and fight enemies. Instead of going for the horror aspect, it turns all of the animatronics cute. Because this game is not based on horror, I'm pretty sure I can recreate this game on Scratch without getting banned. But this game is very big. There's a whole open world, tons of enemies, tons of bosses. Instead, I'm going to be recreating the battles. Basically, during the battles, there are 4 animatronics fighting some enemies. It's an RPG. So first, we make the 4 animatronics. But these animatronics are kind of boring, so let's make them attack. So then I coded in some attack buttons. Now let's make these attack buttons do something. So I coded all of these buttons to do mic toss and pizza wheel, which was more fun than it should have been. We got infinite pizza wheels here. But we aren't attacking anyone with these attacks. So let's code in some enemies. Yeah, wait. These attacks aren't doing anything to the enemies. So I coded the enemies to feel pain and eventually die. Cool. But I also want to see how much pain they're in. So now text pops up when the enemies take damage. The animatronics can also die now. Now the 4 animatronics can only do 2 moves right now. So I think it's time to code in all the attacks. So the way I coded the first 2 attacks was pretty overcomplicated and it wouldn't work with all the other attacks. So I had to rewrite most of my code. Also, I don't know the exact damage of all the attacks, so I just kind of made them up as I went along. So hopefully none of the attacks are overpowered, but it's not like Fnaf World was balanced in the first place. But even with all of these issues, I was able to code in all 12 of the attacks. Attacking one type of enemy is boring, so I coded in 2 more types of enemies. Now we have Met Crab, Bounce Pot, and Gear Rat. All these characters have basic attacks except Gear Rat. Gear Rat wanted to be cool, so it has a special attack called Toxic Bite that it likes to do occasionally, which just means more work of coding for me. But now, after all of that, we have this. A bunch of placeholders fighting each other. I know this might not seem much, but this is actually about almost half of our work done. This is basically all of the coding complete. All I have to do now is put images for the placeholders and add in some sounds, and that's about it. Making games isn't that hard. Now I could have taken the assets from the game and imported it into mine, but I wanted to make it extra hard on myself, so I decided to recreate all of the assets for the games. And I mean all the assets. So here's a time lapse of me creating all the attack particles. So this is me making a microphone, this is me making a pizza, and this is me making a cupcake.
Coming out here to pick up a cupcake.
Anyways, here's me creating the enemies. And here's me creating the animatronics. Now I decided that I wanted to recreate all the assets, but that doesn't mean I'm actually want to animate them. Instead of animating the enemies, I only made 1 frame of them and then just made them bob up and down. I also did this for all the animatronics too. So let's compare these guys to the original models. Met Crab was kinda difficult to make because it had 6 legs. If I added shading to mine, it would probably look 10 times better, but I can't be bothered to, so. Also forgot the eyelids. Just noticed that. Bounce Pod is just straight up ugly. I don't know what Scott was thinking when he was creating this character, but I think I actually captured that ugliness pretty well in my recreation. I mean, it looks just as ugly. Gear Rat was probably the hardest to make out of all the enemies, because it's of gear. If you didn't know, making a 3D gear with 2D shapes is pretty difficult. It's also probably the best recreation of all the enemies, because of how much shading I used to create the gear shape. The only thing wrong about this recreation is probably its eyes. This Gear Rat has seen some things. The animatronics didn't turn too bad either, I think. Freddy, are you okay?
The animatronic characters here do get a bit quirky.
Freddy's fine. He's probably the worst recreation out of the animatronics, mostly because the shape of his head is wrong. Also, I didn't really want to make fingers and toes, so I just kind of made blobs for the hands and feet. Freddy in his attack phase is pretty weird. He's like broke his neck or something. He just looks like he's staring at nothing. Bonnie turned out pretty well, especially the guitar. The guitar looks sick. Even in his attack phase, he also looks pretty sick. Those buck teeth, those were fine. I don't know why he opens his mouth when he attacks. It's like, why? Chica.
Hey everybody, it's your boy, Eat That Pussy 445.
Yeah, I don't know why she also opens her mouth when she attacks. Like, you don't need to do that. Foxy is the best recreation out of all of the animatronics. Everything about him is just accurate. The shape of his head, his ears, his jaw, his hook, it's all perfect. After that, I recreated the background and added some camera shake. Coding in camera shake was pretty difficult because there weren't any good tutorials online, so I had to recreate my own camera shake script. And it's not even that good. The camera shakes randomly if you have a very low frame rate, which is a problem if you have a low-end laptop. The camera just shakes out of nowhere because you have a low frame rate. But I can't be bothered to fix that, so too bad. Anyways, all I need to add now are the sound effects, which I also decided to recreate entirely, and here's me recording those. So now I am remaking all the sounds from Fnaf World, so let's listen to the sound effects. Okay, that's easy. So it's just There's no way. Boo. So, after coding in those sound effects, the game is finally complete. The only thing left to do now is to play. Now, the game runs pretty well. I'm even able to run the game in 60 frames per second using a scratch compiler without the game breaking. Gameplay is very chaotic. I can't really tell what I'm doing, just like the original Fnaf World. The sound effects just sound so stupid. I cheated with the music. I just imported it from the original game because making music with mouse sounds is dumb. Now I could add more things to the game, like more animatronics, more enemies, or the entire rest of the game, but that would be a lot of work for a free game that you can play right now. Seriously, Fnaf World is free on GameJolt. You can download and play the game right now. There also would be an optimization issue. Scratch isn't really built for large games such as Fnaf World. The recreation of the Friday Night Funkin', which I reviewed in a video, which you should totally watch, that Scratch project was pushing the limits. And Friday Night Funkin' isn't a big game. Also, if you're thinking about modding this Scratch recreation, don't. The code is just bad, and adding in new attacks is a hassle because everything is hard-coded. But anyways, that was a lot of talking. So here's me pushing the game to its absolute limits. Infinite pizza wheels. I can't even see what's going on in the screen. Toxic bite can be annoying. This is music to my ears. Infinite hot cheese. Wrench the enemy in hot cheese. You can't even see the enemy because it's covered in hot cheese. There's just so much hot cheese, it's spilling over the attack buttons. Infinite cupcakes.
It's your boy, Eat That Pussy 445.
Oh yeah, and subscribe to Mr. Sir.